We're here today to occupy Natwest, which is owned by RBS, which is 84% owned by us, the taxpayers. We're a little bit annoyed with RBS because it has paid bonuses of £950 million to its workers this year, its bankers this year, despite the fact that it made a loss of £1,100 million. And remember, that's all taxpayers' money. RBS should feel a little bit sheepish about that because in the run-up to the financial crisis it dodged £500 million of tax. So we're going there today to say that we want to defend public services, say there is an alternative to the cuts, and that the government, which remember the Tory party gets 50% of its funding from the city, we're saying that the government of millionaires who's running our country should be much tougher on the banks and much fairer on ordinary people like us.
And what are you going to do once you get into the bank?
We're going to set up a school to say that I work as a teacher in Tower Hamlets, and we're here today to say that more funding should be going into schools. We're also concerned about a local school here called Bethnal Green Technology College, which is currently thinking about turning into an academy, taking education out of local control and the privatisation of our state education system, which is another part of the coalition's agenda against public services.
All right, good luck with everything today.
Thank you.
Fight back!
Cut back! Fight back! Cut back!
Fight back!
Cut back! Fight back! Cut back! Fight back! They say cut back! We say fight back! They say cut back! We say fight back! Cut back! Fight back! Cut back! Fight back! Cut back! Fight back! When they say cut back! We say fight back! When they say cut back! We say fight back! Cut back! Fight back! Cut back! Fight back! Cut back! Fight back!
Which is owned by RBS, which is owned by all of us. It's a state-owned bank, and this year it's posted £1.1 billion worth of losses. Now, did that stop the people running this bank paying out bonuses?
No.
Of course not. £500 million handed out in bonuses at Natwest this year, just like they are every year, just like they have been every year since the economic crisis broke out in 2007-2008. A crisis entirely due to the bankers and the financiers. A crisis that has now cost us all £1.3 trillion to bail out the banks for their own stupidity and greed. And because of that bailout, we're all being asked to pay the price. And the price we're being asked to pay is cuts to public services. So in Tower Hamlets, £70 million worth of public sector cuts are being imposed. Those cuts are happening because these people behind us and those people down the road in the city are so stupid and so greedy and so incompetent that they managed to almost bring down the entire world economy. And to pay for them, it has cost us now, in total, £1.3 trillion. This is their crisis. This is not our crisis. So we're here saying we shouldn't be paying the price for the bankers' crisis. The bankers, the rich, should be paying the price for their crisis. We're here to oppose cuts to public services because we didn't cause this crisis, the bankers did. No ifs, no buts, no public sector cuts. No ifs, no buts, no public sector cuts. No ifs, no buts.
We're a big society. David Cameron, can't you see? We're a big society. No ifs, no buts, no public sector cuts. 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 No buts, no public sector cuts. No ifs, no buts, no public sector cuts. No ifs, no buts, no public sector cuts.
This isn't our crisis. This is a crisis of the banks and of the bankers. And it's a crisis entirely of their own making. So we're here today protesting against the bailouts, protesting against the financial crisis, against the cuts that are being forced on all of us, against the £3 trillion that the banks have taken, and against the cuts. We say there's an alternative to this. The alternative is fund public services, tax the rich, stop the bonuses, stop the speculation.
No ifs, no buts, no public sector cuts. 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 In bonuses to the bankers who caused the crisis and couldn't even run their bank properly. The chief executive of RBS, Stephen Hester, even he admits in front of MPs last month that RBS is paying bonuses using taxpayer subsidies. And RBS should feel a little bit sheepish about that, because in the run-up to the crisis they dodged £500 million of tax. Our services in Tower Hamlets are being cut. We face £70 million of cuts to public services. We should not pay for a crisis we did not cause. Ordinary people's money going to the bankers. And RBS should feel sheepish about that, because before the crisis they dodged £500 million of tax. These people, they can't even run their own bank properly. They're relying on ordinary people to bail them out, and we're paying for their crisis. In Tower Hamlets, the council has been forced to make £70 million of cuts to our public services. Here today to say that we should not be paying for this crisis. The banks should be paying for this crisis. No ifs, no buts, no public sector cuts. 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 RBS, which is 84% owned by you. Every single person on this street owns this bank because it's owned by the taxpayer. RBS, who own Natwest, made a loss this year of £1,100 million, and yet they still paid bonuses to the bankers who work there of £950 million. That is public money. That is your money going to the super rich. And meanwhile, in Tower Hamlets, we face cuts of £70 million to our local services. And that's just our local services. That doesn't count the national cuts, the rise in cost of fees for students, the cuts to EMA, the sixth formers, the changes in the NHS, which are cutting NHS budgets. We're here to say that the banks caused this crisis. They should pay for this crisis, not ordinary people like us. No ifs, no buts, no public sector cuts. 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 No ifs, no ifs, no buts, no public sector cuts. No ifs, no buts, no public sector cuts. No ifs, no buts, no public sector cuts. Sector cuts. There's bankers who work there.
I wish I got
They can't even run their own bank properly.
Who's going to put another one on, is it?
They need bailouts for the general public.